Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. It was on this day in 1985 that the original Sticker from Hell was introduced to the world by the RIAA, the Recording Industry Association of America, the record cartel, that organization, the RIAA, where all the record companies come together and do things that aren't necessarily in the interests of the artists or in the consumers. Sometimes they do, usually they don't. But this was the original Sticker from Hell, and it all originated from a group of senators' wives who were bored and decided rather than hectoring their husbands or their kids or their neighbors, they wanted to hector the entire music industry, the labels, the artists, the designers of the covers, the video directors, and the consumers. Because even though their whole thing was about, ooh, spooky lyrics, I know Halloween was yesterday, but ooh, spooky lyrics, it was really something that, as Frank Zappa quite rightly said, was sold to the public based on the fact that the MTV existed and that they could show the videos, which were, absurd but not dangerous, of, the whips and the chains and the leather and the midgets and the flash pops and the fireworks and, the soldering guns and the buses exploding and all that good stuff. I feel like Beavis and Butthead. It's like Iron Maiden would only do an acoustic show if they could say, "Don't unplug the explosion machine." Gotta love Beavis and Butthead. They're a genius. Love Mike Judge. So anyway, there were two things going on which made what would have otherwise been an obscure hobby of bored Washington, D.C. housewives, as Frank Zappa called them. There was something that really made this click, and that was that the music industry at the time was looking to get the government to pass a blank tape tax. Because long before Napster, they were worried about kids taping music off the radio or taping records and sharing it with their other friends who would then listen to the secondhand quality tape as opposed to go out and buy something that was professionally made, whether a professional cassette or the LP or whatever. And so the industry wanted a blank tape tax. And whenever an industry wants something, politicians who want something, money and power, money and power. I don't know what they want, money and power. There's usually a bit of horse trading that goes on. And so in this case, that was the tit for the tat. And it escalated into a movement that was made for TV because, again, Frank Zappa was commenting on this the whole time because he was so opposed to the censorship proposals. They would use the MTV videos for these songs as bumpers. And bumpers are what you see at the beginning of a show and just before you go to a commercial break. Now, Zappa used this as an opportunity to make the overwhelming case for free speech and why it's important and why parents, if they are worried that lyrics might harm their children, although there's no proof whatsoever that lyrics can do that, why would you abrogate your duty to the government or to the record industry who may well have very different values from you? I mean, if you're someone, let's say from the Midwest, who just doesn't want their kid to hear obscene music, why would you want some guy in a record industry with the Hugh Hefner lifestyle in LA or New York deciding it? So the whole thing was absurd. None of it made any sense until you realize that all of this stuff between government and big industries works on the principle of back scratching and corruption. And Zappa exposed this all when he spoke about it when he testified about it before a Senate committee. I did a separate video on that you can check out. But ultimately, the music industry did give way, and they agreed to a voluntary system where if the industry itself decided that a record contained lyrics that were obscene, they would put this label on it. And Donny Osmond, who was very opposed to this, actually made a very prescient prediction. He said that this will actually make the record sell better because the kids will realize that you're not cool unless you have a record with this label on it. And that tended to be the case. Now, most of this is kind of forgotten because streaming took over, and again it was the flavor of the month. I mean, it lasted a few years, it was the flavor of a few years, but the news cycle moves on, people bitching and moaning moves on, and they've found other ways to censor us because there will always be someone there to censor us because they care about us. I mean, because they care about money and power, and that is the root cause of all censorship. Zappa was right then. I wish he was with us to be right here, right now. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.